All right. Well, hello everyone. I hope all of you guys are getting familiar with the course. I know at the beginning it can be quite difficult, especially if you've never done asynchronous or online course. But I hope you guys are navigating yourself and understanding what's going on. But as you notice, the first reading is about the allegory of the cave. I already put a video there on what is philosophy and what it pertains to. If you haven't checked it out, it's a video on Crash Course, and they explain what is philosophy. But I'm also going to explain to you a little bit of what that is. But first off, I hope you like my little background. This is a Minecraft. If you guys watched the movie, good for you. But first off, I hope, I wish I get to see you guys, but obviously it's an asynchronous course. I don't get to see you guys, but I wish I did. But if you read the Allegory of the Cave, I think it was seven pages. I also provided a video on that on the modules. It's overall saying that there's a particular individuals, four individuals in a cave. They're stuck. They were there since they were born. All they see is in front of them. They're stuck in the cave, and they're chained up in the cave, and all they see in front of them are mere shadows, right? And these mere shadows are being casted by a fire that's behind them, and there's puppeteers using puppets casting whatever the puppets are, right? It's being broadcasted on the wall. So these four prisoners, all they see are these particular shadows. But then eventually one of them leaves and go outside. They're free, and they see that outside the shadow is such a beautiful world. They didn't know this other world existed. It's so beautiful. There's so much to the world besides the shadows. So this particular individual that escaped and goes outside, they see the world has a lot more to offer. There's so much beauty outside of this world. So eventually, this freed prisoner goes back to the cave, and then he tries to tell the other three prisoners that, hey, there's this other world that's more real than the mere shadows you see. And the other prisoners didn't want to listen to him. They wanted to stay in the cave because they're used to it. So this cave is an analogy. It's by Plato, an ancient philosopher. And one of the things he was trying to show us in this cave is that first, education is what brings you out of the cave. It's through education where, without education, you stay stuck in the cave. But through education, through learning, and through trying to understand the world, you are escaping the mindset of a cave, right? So he wants to really say value education. But this process, this journey of escaping the cave is a journey of a philosopher. So all of you are going into education. You guys are all learning. You guys are all teaching yourself these particular subjects, and us professors are also teaching you. But this process of learning, you are in the process of being a philosopher. You're learning how the world functions. You're trying to understand the world, and you're trying to understand how the world truly is. So this is what philosophy is all about. Philosophy is you trying to understand the world, right? Try to understand, does God exist? Does he not exist? Why does evil happen? Why is there suffering in the world? What is ethical? How should I behave as a human being? Right? How can I claim to say that what I know is true? These particular things are philosophical questions. Why do I exist? What's the purpose of my life? These are all questions that I hope all of you have questioned yourself. And it's actually part of what it is to be a human being, to ask these questions. And through your education journey, you're going to try to answer these particular questions for yourself. Now, that is the analogy of the allegory of the cave. Now, the question is, what is philosophy? Well, the name or the title in itself, the name of philosophy, has a meaning. So, philo means love, and Sophie means wisdom. So what guess what it means? It means love of wisdom, right? I should be like Dora the Explorer. If you guys know what that is, right? Dora's like, oh, what is here? And then you answer the question, oh, it's that. So what is philosophy? Well, love of wisdom. So that's what it means. But it's more complicated than that. There's five different categories of philosophy. And the first one is, which we're going to be reading about now, is ethics. What is ethics? Well, let's give you a second. Well, ethics is the study of moralities, how you should behave, right? How you should act as a human being. Is this correct? Is this not correct? How should I treat my friends? How should I treat my parents? How should I treat myself? These are ethical questions. So, ethics is a category of philosophy. Now, the second category would be, let's say, metaphysics. And metaphysics revolves around discussions that pertain to something beyond the physical world. So, does God exist? Well, God is beyond the physical world, right? He's in the spiritual world. So, does God exist? Who is this particular God or this particular being? Right? These are metaphysical questions. Is there an afterlife? Right? Afterlife is beyond the physical world, right? Do angels exist? Right? Do we continue to exist when we die? These are all metaphysical questions. Why is there evil in the world? Right? Is it because we have committed sin, or is there and or Adam and Eve? These are all metaphysical questions. Anything that pertains to beyond the physical world, beyond the our particular dimension of time, space, and matter, those are metaphysical questions. Another particular category of philosophy is epistemology, which is the theory of knowledge. How do I know that what I know is true? How do I know that what I'm telling you to be true is actually true? How do I know that what I see is in fact in front of me? Okay, how do I know that I know anything? All right, so these anything that regards to knowledge, right? Epistemology mean it has to do with theory of knowledge. Anything that pertains to knowledge pertains to epistemology. Then you have another category, which is logic, and I think you all know what logic is. But suppose you don't know what that is. Logic is overall you knowing how to argue, how you know what is fallacious, what doesn't make sense, what's illogical. It teaches you how to argue, right? So if you watch politics, right, you a lot of politicians use logic to argue their points. So for those of you who are political science majors or want to get into law, it's very important that you guys get into this particular category of philosophy, which is logic. But besides, if you're not even in law school or political science majors, you should all learn something about logic because it teaches you how to think and teaches you how to debate. And then the last category of philosophy is aesthetics, which is the study of art. Why is something beautiful? Is beauty in the eyes of the beholder, right? What is art? Like if you ever went to New York City, there's this museum called the Momo Museum, and picture this, right? Picture, let's say in the Momo Museum, you have like a little painting. Can you see that? The paper. Um, a picture of paper or picture a wall with a painting with, oops, can you even see that? That's like magic. Oh, you see that? Okay. Picture a wall with an art with a dot, right? You see the dot? Now, in the Mall Museum, that's what you see. You see a wall, a painting with a dot. Or another example would be, I saw a chair attached to a rope on the roof, and the chair is going in circles because there's a particular fan that's hitting the chair. So the fan is hitting the chair, and then the chair is going in circles. For some people, that's art. But the main aesthetic question, the philosophical question that deals with aesthetics is why, for some artists, this is art. Why is it beautiful for some people? Well, for me, it's not, but for others, it is. That's an aesthetic question. So once again, there's five categories of philosophy, which is ethics, metaphysics, logic, epistemology, and aesthetics. In this class, in this very fast-paced course, we're only going to be covering two of them, which is ethics and metaphysics. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. I hope this helps. But if you have any questions, you can always send me an email. And thank you. Have a good one. All right.